Now, tonight's adventure into the unknown.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the introduction.
The intro.
To episode 103 with comedian Kevin Farley.
Yes, that was a fun time.
Yes. It was an episode that is a little out of the norm because he was mobile. He was coming to us from a diner.
Yes, and we also met him in person.
Yes, but he was coming to us. He was coming to us from a diner in New York, doing
auditions.
Auditions.
He basically splits his time between the East Coast and the West Coast.
Okay. And yes, like you were saying, we met him a couple weeks ago, something like that, and he was in town doing the joke joint, and he was headlining and absolutely slayed.
Yeah, he was good.
Oh my god, our faces were hurting from how hard we were laughing.
My stomach hurt. I got a six-pack after that show. So much laughing.
That good, huh? This comedy's that good?
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
I currently have a new contract for P90X.
Oh, do you? Mm-hmm. I call bullshit. But yeah, he absolutely killed it. It was a hilarious night, and we got a chance to chat with him on our own at the end of the night after everyone left.
Yep.
And then he said he wanted to do a show, so we did the show.
We did it.
And we did it in the morning, which we never do. We've only done that one other time.
Yeah, I didn't have any alcohol in me at all. It was weird.
Yeah, we were drinking coffee.
Yeah.
That was our podcast juice for this episode. So yeah, that's the lowdown on this episode. It's not as long as usual. But,
but I think it makes up for it because Kevin's super hilarious and he's also super genuine, super nice guy.
He's good. He's a sweetheart.
Yeah. He's one of the good guys.
Our sponsors for this episode, Comics Watching Comics.
Yes! Season 5 is finally now on Amazon Video. You can also catch up on seasons 1 through 4. And they're taking auditions for seasons 7 through 8. 7 and 8, I guess. Not through, but whatever. Taking auditions for that. You have to pay your own expenses. You have to be able to go to New York City and have at least 3 years of comedy under your belt. So don't try and lie about it.
Can't be no noob.
No.
Can't be no geek off the street.
You gotta got something going on, so.
You gotta earn your keep. So yeah, check them out on Amazon Video. And the Sportsbook Box Office Podcast.
Hosted by Kevin Goatee and Jeffrey Paul.
Two New York comedians talking sports and movies.
Basically, yep.
Yeah.
That's what they talk about. They have power lunches, too, every Tuesday.
Find them on all the podcast streaming apps out there. Just look it up. Sportsbook Box Office. You might love it. All right. Anything else we need to let our listeners know about this episode?
No, I think we're good.
Is that about it? Should we shut up and let them get into it?
Let's shut it down. Okay,
so here we go with Kevin Farley. Enjoy.
Bye.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to SARGE Approved.
Welcome.
A morning edition.
Morning edition, yes, good morning.
I am Sarge.
And I'm Frenzy.
And we have a pretty awesome guest this morning.
We do. We have comedian Kevin Farley is joining us this morning from New York. How's it going, Kevin?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Awesome to have you. The legendary Kevin Farley.
Yeah.
Oh, legendary. Wow.
We think you're pretty legendary, man.
Yeah.
You're in New York right now. Frenzy said, what are you doing out there? Because you're a West Coast guy, right?
Yeah, well, I split my time between the West Coast and East Coast these days, so I do a lot of stand-up over on the East Coast, so when I'm hitting some of the clubs out here, I stay out here.
Nice.
How long's your trip out in New York going to be this time?
Probably another rest of this week, and then I go to Dallas this weekend, and then I go to, back to Los Angeles after that.
Awesome. Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas, I hear, is
yeah.
a great, great comedy area. Anywhere in
It
the
is.
Dallas or Houston area.
It is. It's got a lot of great comedy clubs in Houston and Austin and Dallas. They have a lot of great comedy clubs there. I'm doing a comedy club called Hyenas, which is in Dallas. They also have one in Plano and in Fort Worth. And it's a lot of fun. I think those are great comedy clubs.
Cool.
What are one of your favorite cities to do comedy in?
Definitely, Dallas, or I really like. I like Denver. I love Denver.
And Denver's a beautiful place to visit too.
Hell yeah!
It's a great place to visit, but the people are really cool, and they're usually up for a good laugh.
Yeah, that probably makes a difference.
Everyone's stoned. They're like mellow and they're good natured and they just want to giggle.
Yeah, they're not going to get in a fight.
Yeah, no one's getting rowdy.
No. Speaking of rowdy, how was your Super Bowl over there?
Oh, it was fine actually. It wasn't too bad. I didn't hear any instances of people having to deal with any out of hand Philly fans, which is good.
Well, that's good.
And I think we kind of killed them with kindness too. So I think they left.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and Jimmy Fallon did the Tonight Show from the Orpheum downtown, and he was like, "I would totally come back here. Let's move the Tonight Show here." And just
whatever.
how he had such a good time, which I'm sure he did.
He was pandering to us Minnesotans.
He was
like, "It is too damn cold here. I am never coming back.
I'm just gonna eat tater tots." Oh, it was cold though. It was. I think the high was like 5 for the game. So
was it really that cold?
Yeah, it's like -1 with a high of 5. But everyone was out doing stuff outside, and
we've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
So
geez, that's cold.
I know.
We got to see you. Was a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
You were in St. Paul at the Joke Joint.
Yep.
Yes, we sat front row so we could see you in all your splendor.
My splendor.
Up close
splendor.
Yes.
That was such a fun night though. The feature before you, what was her name?
Colleen Justice.
Colleen Justice.
Colleen, yeah.
She killed it. She was hilarious.
Yeah, she was funny.
That's one of the best in person. One of the best features I've seen. And then we had never seen you do stand up before, and we'd seen you've done a lot of acting, but never got a chance to see your stand up, and so we weren't quite sure what to expect. And you blew everybody out of the water. You absolutely slayed the room that night. It was such a blast.
Thanks. Yeah, I've been doing stand-up, for, I'd say since 2012 or something like that. I haven't been doing it that long.
That's not that long, yeah.
Wow.
No, but I have a lot of theater training and I have a lot of theater background. So, it sort of helps me out with that. But I've really gotten into stand-up lately. So I've I've done a lot, in the last 5 years. I've done a lot of shows. So, yeah, I'm getting the hang of it, in other words. Yeah,
yeah, you just kind of hit the ground running with the comedy thing, didn't you?
What do you mean, like with stand-up? Or?
Yeah, with stand-up.
Yeah. I did like 4 years ago. I just started doing more and more of it, and they get me out on the road, and I just haven't stopped since then.
Yeah, and you're kind of ping-ponging all over the place. I was listening to your podcast, the On the Road podcast, after you had told me that you do that after we saw you, and I think you were going to you were doing a show in Minneapolis, and then you were flying to Florida on the same day, and this was like in December, and then going back to Madison for Christmas. But I was like, oh, talk about opposites. Minnesota then Florida the same day. Well, in the winter.
yeah. That was actually a really rough road trip because I had gone to Minneapolis and I drove to Granite Falls, which is in the middle of Minnesota. I don't know if you guys know where that is.
Were you at a casino?
The casino, yeah. I did the casino. And then I drove back to Minneapolis and flew down to Florida and did shows down in Florida. And it was really brutal.
Oh, it sounds terrible.
Yeah. And then I came back to Madison to do Christmas. So it was brutal.
Yeah, that's long. So you do voiceover stuff too, right? You've got that show on Netflix. Is that still on there?
Yeah. It's a show called F is for Family.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That Bill Burr show. Awesome. I've been wanting to see that. I started watching one of the episodes, and then something happened. I wasn't able to finish it, but I've been wanting to get back into that because everyone says it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Who do you play on that show?
A couple different.
The baggage handler. I play the neighbor. I play the baggage handler. I play the TV repair or TV store owner. It's got a bunch of different voices.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
Impressive.
Yeah. It's fun.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been doing the road like crazy, and 5 years is in any comedian's career is a short time. Usually people don't figure it out until a good 10 years in or so, and you seem to have figured it out pretty damn quick. But the comedic acting and everything you've done obviously has gotta help.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has helped. I think a lot of the Second City training has helped, and just sort of doing a lot of theater has helped. And I think, it's not like I'm a newcomer to standing up in front of people.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not a newcomer in that regard, but I am a newcomer in stand-up and just the art of stand-up, if you want to call it an art. I don't know if we call it an art. But
it's an art.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's an art. Yeah, it could be an art.
Totally is.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a way that you do it, and then there's the people that craft a good joke, and then there's people that really know how to sell a good joke. So,
yeah.
All right, I'm a combination of both of them, sort of. Just I don't write jokes that well. I'm not a great joke writer, but I do tell stories pretty well, and I do, So I think I'm a storyteller kind of comic.
Yeah, I would agree. How often do you think that you write? Do you spend time writing, or do you just kind of avoid it as much as you can?
If I think of a good concept, I'll just write. I'll start to work it out on stage, and then usually on stage I'll find the beats or find the things that I find are funny, and then go back and redo that.
Okay.
I like the storyteller comics. That seems to be like the kind of genre of comedy these days that more and more people are gravitating towards. Is the storytellers. Mm-hmm. It's definitely difficult to imagine to set up a punchline and the setup and the punchline for jokes. But being a gifted storyteller and doing it in a comedic way where people are staying engaged with the story and having a punchline that isn't necessarily so obvious as like a setup joke. Those are the kind of comedians that I always tend to gravitate towards.
Yeah, I do too. I think that a great storyteller that doesn't waste my time with getting too much exposition and just listening to himself speak. I think a lot of guys need a little more stage fright. There's a lot of comics that could use a good dose of stage fright because they drone on and on too long. And I've never really had that problem. I usually try to get off stage as fast as I can, and then I try to get to the joke as fast as I can. But there's also nothing like a great joke in terms of I admire comics that can craft a good joke.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. It's
that's probably more difficult than storytelling. I think crafting a good joke to me is very difficult.
Yeah, and the process of it too. I think the process is just interesting, whichever way you decide to perform comedy, how you go about it.
Yeah,
the choices you make are everything, whether you're doing acting or comedy.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm curious about. When did you make that choice to start doing stand-up comedy? Like, what got you into that?
It's just primarily acting, a lot of it. And, there's a lot of downtime with acting. I think you get a part here, you get a part there, unless, of course, you're on a show and you're working. But I was never really like that. I was always doing guest starring roles and that kind of thing, and I was getting good parts. But I had a lot of downtime. So in my downtime, I just went up to the Comedy Store and started practicing stand-up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Just go up to the Comedy Store.
Yeah, that's ballsy. Yeah. Not only you're like, I'm just going to try it out, but you're doing it at the Comedy Store.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you go up and just, Sundays and Mondays you go up and do free mics up there, and I would just start doing that. And, crafting jokes and this and that.
Wow.
And then I got myself an act, pretty much, I don't know, I had like maybe a half hour out there, but none of it was really great. But I would go out there and expel as much energy as I possibly could, so that
That helps.
your jokes are kind of covered up with energy.
Yeah, that can help though.
Yeah.
And you're pretty animated on stage. You know, you'll be sitting there telling a joke, just kind of not a whole lot of movement, and then all of a sudden, like as you're approaching the punchline of the story or whatnot, you all of a sudden you just like get super animated, and it surprises you. It's hilarious.
I think I surprise people because I am pretty sedentary, and then I'll just burst into a bunch of energy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I do kind of like doing that to people because then they're like, Jesus, what is he going to do? Jump off stage?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Scare them a little bit.
Scare them a little bit, exactly.
Yeah, keep them on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So, you've been doing this, 5, going on 6 years now, something like that, and you're on the road a lot. I gotta imagine you've had some nights that have been less than desirable. I gotta imagine you've had some shitty nights. What's one of the worst?
God, yeah.
What's one of the worst nights you've had? Like your worst one-nighter?
I was in the middle of Illinois one time. I can't remember the town, but I was in a bar and grill, and I remember just like they had a little pipe and drape kind of thing, and it was disastrous, like so bad. People were eating, and nobody listened, and people were yelling out. They were drunk. I mean, basically, it was only like maybe 10 people in the audience.
That sucks. Yeah. They didn't go there to see comedy necessarily. It was just one of those off to the side.
They were there to eat, and I was interrupting their food. You know.
They had Groupons that were expiring.
It's got to be so awkward.
Or like and I think that happened to me in Los Angeles too. I think I was introducing a band or something like that, and they were there to see the band, and they go, "Here comes the comedic stylings of Kevin Farley," and they just didn't want to hear a comedy act right there.
Yeah.
So that was just like, when they don't want to hear a comedy act, that's always the most difficult because I just feel like getting off stage. Like they don't want to see me.
Right, and then you feel like you have to convince them to want to pay attention. Yeah, and you're just like,
you're going there with in a specific mood and mindset to see music. And I don't understand why some of these places will mix comedy and bands into the same thing.
I think there's this Booker mentality of like, get a comedian out there first to sort of warm up the crowd. But it never really works. And that's a Booker that doesn't know how to put on events because when people are there, they usually go for music or they specifically go for comedy or they specifically go for a circus act, whatever they want to see.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't like to mix it up. I know people like to mix it up. Like, what is this? A comedy act before my song? I don't like this.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for mustard on my sandwich.
Yeah. There's too many emotions going on here. I don't know how to feel.
Yeah.
I was just laughing, and now I'm like listening to this this song that's penetrating my soul, and I just don't know how to feel.
When people make the decision to go out and see a music act, they look very, very confused when a comedy act comes on. Yeah.
What is this shit?
They're like, wait a minute, I thought this was a music show.
Right?
And they're like, yes, but you were warming up the musician with a comedian.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't want that. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about hecklers? You had to deal with any bad hecklers?
I had a couple when I was up there at St. Paul. There were a couple beauties. Usually it's women. Women tend to be more heckly than men, I think.
What's up with that frenzy?
I don't know. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. No, I think probably because they have cocktails and they think that they're funny or whatever.
Well, they always think they're helping the show, which is so funny.
Yeah. Oh, like we did have one the show that we went to where she was like laughing before you even stopped talking.
Yes. Oh my god.
Molly chick.
Molly.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about that. That was hilarious, but that worked out so perfectly too. It was like one of those, because I've seen before where a heckler will sometimes, very rarely, actually, in a way, kind of add a little something extra to the act, whether intentionally or not. But it was funny because she was obviously, I could tell she was being annoying, and it got to a point where all of us were like, all right, that's enough. but at first it was pretty funny because she would start giggling while you were setting up your joke, like during the setup part, before you even got to the part where you're supposed to laugh, she would be laughing her ass off, and you kept commenting on it, how she's like she's on ecstasy or whatever. But at first it was really funny, and then eventually it got old because she did it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, the first minute was funny, and then it was like, okay.
And then she went and threw up in the bathroom, which is funny.
Yeah, there was someone in the bathroom that was throwing. That was bad. That was
her.
That was before the show started. There was someone in the bathroom throwing up.
She probably did it before and after.
Yeah, that was her.
Yeah, that's the thing about stand-up, is it sort of has this reputation of getting, where people think they can yell out.
I know.
In no other theater genre does that happen.
The worst is like bachelorette parties or birthday parties.
Mm-hmm.
Group of girls, they're wasted, they got their little dick straws, and they think that the night is all about them. Oh. This is my night. It's my birthday.
Yeah. It's been my birthday for the whole month, okay?
That's my birthday month.
My birthday month.
Yeah. I actually sometimes like hecklers because, I get tired of doing my act, so I go off book and I get to play around with a heckler. It's always kind of fun.
Yeah. How often are you going through material? Do you cycle stuff out each year, or how do you usually do that?
Yeah, I usually work in a new joke into my act, and if it sticks, I'll let it stay there.
Just kind of phase some of the old
and phase
stuff
other
out.
Things out. Yeah,
yeah. It's funny though, because you see some comedians who they'll have basically the same act for like 20 years, and they'll hone that act until it is a fine-tuned machine. But they're doing the same jokes year in and year out.
Year out, right? Yeah.
And that's something you could get away with before, like the internet, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
Where the chances.
A lot of people go online and they see my jokes, which kind of bugs me. But
yeah.
I know. I would think that'd be annoying too.
Well, they need to. I mean, I assume you're not videotaping your act and putting it on the internet. It's probably people in the crowd, right? On their damn cell phones. They need to start. I know there's some comedy clubs that have started implementing rules where they lock up everyone's cell phones before the show, or they have some kind of scrambling device that scrambles cell phones. It's like an EMP. Yeah. It just shuts down all the phones. But
there shouldn't be any recording in a live theater performance because, especially with a comedian, because. Then you're not going to be able to sell tickets. It's immediately they're not going to be able to. I mean, a live performance is live, and because you're paying for a live performance,
right? Yeah. It's live for a reason.
If you're recording on that, it's such a violation. Mm-hmm. If people don't understand it, they don't get it.
Yeah, they think
a live performance has to stand alone, and it has to be something that remains pure.
Exactly.
Yeah, people see all your jokes on YouTube, then what's going to make them want to go and actually see you do the same jokes that they've already heard online?
Well, you're not going to sell tickets, bottom line, Mm-hmm. They've already seen your stuff, so...
It's not like music. Like music, you could listen to the same song that was written in the 70s forever, and it's still good. It's something you can still listen to over and over again. Comedy,
I do think comedic bits sort of have a shelf life. Not as much as a song,
right?
But they have somewhat of a shelf life, like I think Jimmy Gaffigan's Hot Pockets is a good example.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you got a really good, solid joke like that. That's kind of like a hit song.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll that comedian, it could be, it was, I don't know how many specials ago that Gaffigan did the Hot Pockets bit, but I guarantee he still goes to and does his act at places, and people are screaming out, "Do the Hot Pocket thing!
Do the Hot Pockets!" Yeah, I'm sure he gets that. Yeah. It's kind of like if you have a really good bit like that, it's kind of like a song.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, I'm curious. We like to ask comedians this: is who would be your Mount Rushmore of comedians? You can't include yourself.
No way.
Like currently, how about currently and all time for Mount Rushmore?
Currently, probably Bill Burr. I think Louis C.K. Even though he had that little incident, I forgive him for it.
He's still hilarious.
He's still funny.
Yeah.
I like Adam Sandler. I like David Spade. I like Norm Macdonald. I like those guys.
I've never heard Norm Macdonald stand up.
No.
I hear he's hilarious though.
Oh God, he's great.
And Adam Sandler's just getting back into stand up again after the last few years or so.
Yeah.
He's
great. He's awesome on stage.
Yeah, is he killing it?
Yeah, he's awesome, killing it.
I love it.
It's great. Yeah. And then all time was probably like, oh boy, I love Steve Martin. I like John Belushi.
Yeah.
I like Bill Murray. I like
Murray.
Danny Aykroyd. I like all those SNL guys.
Yeah,
I like Carol Burnett. I love Carol Burnett.
I wish Steve Martin was still doing stand up. I wish he hadn't quit so early into it.
I think
he's a monster.
He got afraid of people. He didn't like people.
I didn't like people.
Yeah.
I didn't like people. He got a little stage shy. He got a little frightened of people.
Really?
Yeah. Huh.
People were just getting crazy on him. I heard. I heard like he kind of like it got to a point too where he basically was a character. Like he felt like he didn't have to be funny anymore because everyone absolutely was crazy about him, and he could get up there and just twiddle his thumbs and people would start laughing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not even doing anything here. I don't even have to, like, I have nothing to work towards.
Yeah.
Like, there's no more creative process because I'm just a character now.
Yeah, that's true. Did he write that? I think in his book. I should read that book.
Yeah, I think it was in his book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hilarious dude. So what do you got going on? What's on the docket for today?
Today I got to do a few auditions here in New York, and then some meetings and this and that. And then I get on a plane tomorrow for Dallas.
Okay. No shows tonight?
No, I don't think so.
Unless one pops up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. How often does that happen? Or you just kind of like, I feel like going and doing a show?
Yeah, I mean, if I do, I just go usually get some stage time here in New York, and there's a lot of places to go. So
you were just on Drunk History recently.
Oh yeah,
we've been trying to find it on Hulu and whatnot, but I don't think it's on there yet.
It's on Comedy Central now. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
Is it? We were looking the other day and couldn't find it. We were trying to track it down because we wanted to watch it before we had you on, but we weren't able to find it yet. We'll track it down.
Oh, it's on there. It's with Bob Odenkirk. I play the guy who discovered the dictionary. I don't know what his name was, but me and Bob Odenkirk are on there. And,
I love
Derek
him.
Waters. Derek Waters is a great friend of mine, and he always puts me on that show, which I'm very grateful for.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So how wasted do you get when you do Drunk History?
I didn't do the drinking. I did one of the characters. There's a guy that does the drinking, and then there's the guys that act out the characters.
Oh, that's
I acted out the characters. Yeah, I didn't do the drinking.
Why don't they let the characters get drunk too?
I agree. They should, right?
Or switch it up once in a while.
I've heard because the narrator, the one telling the story, is the one who gets drunk. Like I've heard there's been times where they've gotten pretty damn drunk.
Oh yeah,
to the point where
they get really drunk. Yeah,
it's hilarious that that's even allowed. That there's
it is funny. I know.
Well, and they do. I mean, they're pretty much basically doing shots most of the time.
Is that what it's shots?
Yeah. Doing hardcore stuff.
Yep. Oh,
that's funny.
I love it.
I love it.
I
it's
do
a great
too.
show.
It is a great show.
Awesome.
Sweet. So what are you, obviously you've got your go-to places for food and stuff you like to go check out. So in New York, what do you usually, are you a pizza guy, or what's your
I love
go-to?
diners. I'm at a diner right now. I love diners.
Nice.
I love diners. New York has got great diners. So
Like breakfast food?
all kinds. You get a 24-hour diner, I love them.
Heck
I haven't been to a diner in a while.
Especially at like 3 a.m. A diner.
You can't beat it. Yeah,
Yes.
good diner like that. Yeah, I love diners.
I used to love when I was in the Army and I was stationed down in South Carolina and Georgia. I used to love, after going out drinking with the buddies, we would always end up at a Waffle House. Woo! When you're drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning, you walk into a Waffle House, and I was always the only white dude in there. Every time I walked in, everyone would kind of give me a look and like, "Oh, drunk soldier."
Yeah,
Drunk soldier.
Let him be. And we sit down and have some of the most amazing food ever, because food's amazing when you're drunk. And the Waffle Houses were never the epitome of cleanliness or anything like that. Far from it. But you didn't care. The food was amazing. You sat down among the cockroaches and ate your delicious meal. I love Waffle House.
Beautiful. Yeah, the cockroaches eat along with you.
Yeah.
Side by side.
Yeah, it's like a...
Yeah.
It's funny. Plus, you can get pie at any time of the day, too. They always have pie.
That's another great thing. You can go by and at like 3 o'clock in the morning get a piece of pie.
Yeah.
So when are you coming back to Minnesota?
Oh, I don't know, guys. I went there twice last year, so I probably will maybe wait a year before I go back to Minnesota.
Wait till
You
it's
gotta
warm.
come back in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it's nice, right? I went back twice in the winter, which probably is not very normal, but I think I'd love to come back in the summer. That'd be great.
Yeah, like come around like the state fair or something.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a blast.
I'm sure they'll have some fancy new weird foods come
Oh, yeah.
out. They're getting too fancy with it.
Are they?
Like it. Yeah.
Oh, God.
They always introduce the foods, I think, like in this, I want to say June, maybe May, what new foods they're going to have. And usually it's like 12 or 15 new things. And each year it gets more snooty, I feel like. Just fry some things and put it on a stick and don't get so fancy with it.
Yeah, everything's got to be fried.
Yeah.
Can we deep fry this? Let's try it.
Yeah. But then they put some
Fried
fancy
Snicker bars,
truffle
fried
oil on it or
cookies.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're frying things.
Can't beat that, though. I love that fried Snicker bars. That's awesome.
I remember the first time I heard they were doing that, I was like, that sounds disgusting. And then you try it and you're like, oh my gosh, what?
They've got a place here called Deep Fried Goodness, where everything is deep fried. You think of it, and they'll deep fry it. And I mean, all the little Debbie's type snacks. You get like deep fried Twinkies, deep fried Oreos.
Really?
Yep.
They got wings.
You give it to us, and we'll fry it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty much. Yeah, deep fried Fruity Pebbles, like whatever you think up, they'll fry it. Yeah.
You can think of a lot of things, I guess. I don't know.
Deep fry a bald eagle. We'll deep fry a bald eagle for you.
A bald eagle.
Merca.
I just couldn't believe I eyed a bald eagle. That was pretty bad. I got in trouble.
I feel like an American now.
Yeah,
Real American. What if that's the way it was? On Thanksgiving, instead of eating a turkey, we ate the bird
bald
of
eagle?
our country. We ate bald eagles.
That'd be terrible.
No, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
I wonder if bald eagle tastes any good. I bet it's a little gamey.
Yeah, probably gamey.
Those predators tend to taste not as good.
Predator birds are gamey.
Yeah.
Predator birds are gamey.
Evil birds.
Yeah.
Kevin, we appreciate.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you
thank
sharing
you.
your time with us, especially while you're at the diner.
Yeah. I gotta go meet some people and do a couple auditions here, but I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
And we
and
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I just say down. Just thanks a lot.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and
all right.
And we look forward to seeing you back here in Minnesota, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. See ya.
Bye.
Okay, see you later.
Okay. That was comedian Kevin Farley.
Kevin Farley.
Love that dude.
Yeah, we had very rare and awesome opportunity to meet him in person after we saw him do stand-up and laughed our asses off.
My face hurt.
Yeah, my whole body hurt, actually.
Yeah, that whole night, I know we talked about it, but like the whole night was just a blast. And we've been to Joke Joint before, and this is by far the best night that we've experienced at Joke Joint. And that's a great club, it really is. It's kind of old school looking. It's got that balcony up top.
Yeah, it's very unique. It's in an older kind of section right outside the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. But
yeah,
it's definitely...
They kept it old school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Victorian, a Victorian kind of look to it.
Yeah.
Right? Is that the right description? Victorian,
or you might go. Like you might have gone there back in the day to go watch some square dancing competition or something.
I don't know.
I mean, there's a ton of comedians that have performed there. There's all their pictures on the wall and stuff. So it's definitely it's cute. It's a cute little place.
I like that place. It's old looking, purposely. Part of it is purposely, but it is an old building. When you walk up to it, it looks kind of like the old Western type.
Yes, totally.
It's like a strip mall area, kind of,
mm-hmm.
right? Because there's a couple other businesses there.
Picture Wall Drug in South Dakota, if you've ever been there. It's kind of like that.
It's like old school,
mm-hmm.
like an old Western town strip of businesses, and Joke Joint's on the end.
You're going to go walk in there and you're going to buy a bag of flour and you're going to buy some eggs and they're going to charge your account and they're going to walk out of there and go home and make a cake.
I wonder how long that building's been around. They had like an old deed on the wall.
Yeah, they did.
For the building from like the fucking 1700s or some shit.
And the crazy part is that I just found out recently, due to my other job, that the liquor store next door, Sunfish Wine and Cellars, purchased an Italian restaurant probably half a mile down the road, just across 35, which is the major highway. And there's a couple other places probably within 150 feet from the Joke Joint, and they're going to be demolished. One of them is a restaurant that's been in business for a long time.
Why are they getting demolished?
They're going to create and build senior housing.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird that, because where the Joke Joint is, and it's kind of got that Western-style strip mall feel, I guess, there's places to the left of it that have maybe 10 to 15 different shops, plus a restaurant. So all of those are going to go away. And they're going to build senior housing. So I don't think that Joke Joint's a part of that, because they're kind of separate, but it's weird.
Joke Joint can't go away. We need Joke Joint to stick around.
I don't think it is. I'm just saying, but it's gonna...
Out of the comedy clubs in the Twin Cities area...
Yes, there's a few.
The best ones are obviously Acme. Acme is one of the top comedy clubs in the country.
Yeah, Acme's badass.
And then there's Joke Joint, and what else?
There's House of Comedy at the Mall of America.
House of Comedy, yes. Those are the top three in my opinion. There is the Royal Comedy Theater, which is newer.
In Hopkins.
Yep, that's newer, and it's still gaining ground.
Right. But then you also think about the different venues that offer comedy,
right,
not on a regular basis. Maybe it's 2 times a week, once a week, or whatever it is. Sisyphus in Northeast, or Grumpy's downtown, or...
But for like actual straight-up comedy clubs, those are like the 3 and 4 if you include Royal.
Right.
What other ones?
And they're, I think those are the only places I've gone and seen actual comedy show. Unless you like buy tickets to the Orpheum or...
I haven't been to Royal yet. We need to go check out Royal.
I haven't been to Royal either.
Club. Chad Daniels did Royal Comedy Club.
Mm-hmm. So did
was it last summer or something?
Yep, there's a comedy festival.
Yeah. We need to check that place out. I'm really curious what that club's like.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing is though that it's, I don't know, I guess in the Twin Cities, comedy is like a celebrated thing where...
Well, it's a great time for comedy right now.
I don't think that there's really any... I mean, you could pick any day of the week to go see some type of stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
and we're not known for comedy. Like, we're not like an Austin, Texas, or a New York City, LA area where
we've had some great comedians come out of here,
right?
Though.
But I'm saying where comedians are gonna we're gonna get our Netflix special because we're in Minneapolis. Like, that doesn't happen.
Who are some great comedians come out of Minnesota? We got Chad Daniels, boom,
boom.
Nick Swartzen,
boom.
Fuck yeah.
Corey Adam, boom.
Corey Adam doesn't count.
Yes, he does.
He's a great comedian, but he's a local comedian.
That still doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm talking about like people that
Chad Daniels lives up north in Minnesota.
but
he's local.
But he's
I know.
National. I'm talking about people with some success. Corey Adam is a successful.
Corey Adam is gonna send you some hate mail.
He knows I'm talking real.
Corey, I'll send you the address personally. I'll message you.
He knows he's not Chad Daniels.
I'm not saying that
Nick
he
Swartzen.
says that he's Chad Daniels.
That's what I'm talking about. Great comedians that have come out of Minnesota.
I'm saying that he's a great comedian.
Yeah.
Rude.
He's not going to listen to this episode.
I'm going to send it to him.
Who else? Josh Denny he's a funny dude, but he's seen success with the show on Food Network, that Ginormous Food.
Louis Anderson.
Is he from Minnesota?
He is.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that dude's a legendary comedian. Who else? I know there's more. Isn't Maria Bamford from Minnesota? That crazy ass lady. She is funny, but she is unique. Who else? I know there's more, but that's a good handful. We've had some good comedians come out of this state.
I think of it as like we have some amazing comedians come out of the state, just like we have amazing musicians come out of the state. Bob Dylan was born in Minnesota. Prince is from Minnesota. I mean, we don't have to be super picky about having so many people from Minnesota. We get to pick like badass people. Not pick, but we get to say like those people that are kind of not just run of the mill, like I'm popular, are from Minnesota.
Yeah. Well, it's not a state that is notoriously famous in the entertainment field. A lot of people don't want to be here. They're fucking cold.
Well, they just
a lot of the time of the year.
We just get made fun of a lot.
Do we? For what? Who's making fun of us?
We're our awesome. Accents.
Yes,
for living
true.
In the cold.
That's true.
For our
people do not make fun of us for living in the cold.
Football team.
I guarantee people respect us.
No,
for the shit we put up in the wintertime.
There's respect, but there's
respect.
Also
mad respect. We got street cred.
There's also like you guys are crazy.
But our accents is fair game. Accents are always fair game.
Yeah.
And to us, we don't notice it. But
have you ever done this as okay? So from Minnesota, we have crazy kind of weird accents. Some of us more specifically than others.
I don't think it's that weird. To other people, yes.
I'm just saying. So
no, it's weird.
But if you were to put a Minnesotan, Ohioan, Missourian,
I don't think that's
Hawaiian,
how you say those words. And a Minnesotan,
a Hawaiian.
Did they have accents?
An Ohioan.
An Ohioan. Ohioan. That sounds better.
Missourian.
Okay. They don't. You're picking like weird, obscure states that don't have accents. Notoriously.
Well, so what do you call someone from New Jersey?
Jersey, yes.
What do you call them though? A New Jerseyan? A Jerseyite?
They don't have.
Well, that's
we don't
weird.
give them. They don't get a nickname.
A New Yorker.
Yeah, New Yorker.
Chicago. What's someone from Chicago?
We tried. A lot of people just try to forget that New Jersey
Canadian.
exists.
Okay. Anyway, whatever.
What was I going to say? Our accents. Yes, people make fun of our accents. It's not that bad. What I think is funny is Daniele Bellelli. We've had him on the show multiple times. We all know that he's got a very noticeable Italian accent. Very noticeable, right? To us Americans, especially us Midwesterners, he has a very noticeable accent. But he claims, to him, he swears to God that he cannot
Why are you
hear.
talking in such short?
He cannot hear. I'm talking like a politician right now. I'm like using my hands.
It's weird.
But he swears that he does not hear his accent.
He doesn't.
To him, he sounds like he's speaking just like me
Absolutely.
or you, which is weird. Like I get it, but I don't get it because he obviously has an accent. We hear it.
Well, that was kind of like my whole point.
And
Is that we as Minnesotans, like doing this podcast, SARGE approved, we have been questioned so many times out of 100 and how many episodes?
This is going to be 103.
Okay, so probably 58 times we've been questioned. Are you guys from Canada? Are you from Minnesota? Are you guys from North, wherever you are, whatever?
Yeah.
And
whatever, drink.
And I don't care about that part of it. I just think it's interesting because there's kind of that social, like, you can hear someone when they talk. We're kind of the area that they're from. But, like, okay, so my mom's from Germany, drink again. But she doesn't hear any accent.
And to you, you don't even hear accents. But me, because you grew up with her your whole life, to you it's normal.
Right, that's what I was going to say, is that she doesn't hear her accent at all. Crazy. And then me being her kid, I mean, she moved here and she was 18. I don't hear any
your
accent.
Entire life.
My entire life.
Your entire life, she's been around. You've been hearing that accent, but to you, it's not there. There's no accent.
I don't hear it at all.
But to me, as an outsider who hasn't been around her my entire life, there's an accent.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like thick or like medium?
It's very noticeable. It's without a doubt she's from Germany.
Weird.
Yeah,
like so weird.
It's not it's not super thick. It's not super thick because believe me, I've heard some thick German accents.
Right. So, but this is what
brings. It's very noticeable. There's no denying that she's from fucking Germany.
Right. So this is what brings me to that point: is that when I hear other people that are from Germany on like TV or radio, I can literally like say like, "Oh, they're from Germany," just by hearing them say like one sentence. Well, I know, but also like
she has very distinct.
She has friends that she's met over in the States after she moved here that all happen to be from like Germany or Belgium or whatever. But when I hear them talk, it's like, whoa, your accent is like so thick. But it's just weird that your brain recognizes, like, so my brain as from the first time that I heard her talk, recognized her voice, and it didn't, and for whatever reason, somehow it translated into just sounding normal to me, whether that's English or like my accent or whatever it is, but her accent became completely depleted from my brain.
Yeah.
But then I hear her friends and people that are close to her siblings, my Oma and Opa, like I would hear them talk, and it would be like, what?
Well, I guarantee her accent has definitely been watered down.
Well, with it has, all the years
she's been in America.
But I don't hear it at all.
Exactly. And it's kind of like the way our sense of smell works. Like apparently the way our sense of smell works is we only smell things that are like a new smell that we haven't been smelling on a frequent basis, on a daily basis. So like when somebody farts, you don't smell somebody like rip a nasty fart every single day. Not every single day.
I do.
I doubt that.
It's my own farts.
Then I'm saying you don't smell somebody else rip a very distinctive smelly fart every day, right? It's not something your nose is used to smelling. So the rare times that somebody does lay down a really stinky fart, your nose picks that up like, oh shit, what's this? New smell. So that's like when people who live near like a paper plant. Paper plants are notoriously stinky as shit. Over time, they get used to that smell and they don't even smell it anymore because that's a smell they're smelling every day. Their body and their brain is telling them, hey, apparently this smell is okay. There's nothing to worry about. There's no danger with this smell. Smell it every day. You're still alive.
Right. So the reason why your smell changes happen is because throughout the day you experience different things. Also, it has to do with your age. It's getting older.
What do you mean?
So your smell sensitivity varies over the course of a day.
So it gets shittier as you get older,
No.
like everything else? Or does it get better?
So there was a study, and they collected 37 different people.
That is a weak-ass study. 37 people? That's weak.
They still decided to do the
They
study.
couldn't get more than 37 people to do their smell study?
Well, they probably could.
Seriously, how are you going to get any kind of real, actual data from such a small compilation of people?
Well, they got, like, so this guy named Hertz, Herz, like the car rental place.
Yeah.
He's an expert in the sense of smell, apparently. And he collaborated with a sleep expert who is a professor of psychiatry and human behavior at some place. I don't know where.
It doesn't say where.
No,
It's
it
like
didn't say
in his
where.
basement.
Yeah, but they're and she also one of her big things is like the effects of eating habits on people and how they eat, like their eating habits.
Yeah.
And smell apparently has been recently associated with food consumption.
In what way?
In the way that you want to eat food. So things that trigger you to be happy usually are probably mostly food. You smell someone making something, or you drive by a Chick-fil-A or a Burger King and you smell a big fat juicy Whopper or whatever it is. Like you smell those things. And then the other things are you smell maybe someone's deodorant that you've been close to, or their cologne or their shampoo, or like things that you experience kind of like closely physically with somebody else.
But it has to be something you don't smell every day.
No, it's not every day.
Because you do get used to the same smells if it's on a consistent basis. Like if you live on a farm with cows and livestock and they're shitting everywhere, anybody who's not used to living on a farm and they drive by that, just driving by it, you can smell all the shit.
Right.
But growing up on that farm, like it's not long before you don't smell it anymore. You're just used to it. It's not a new smell to you, so your brain, you don't even pick it up.
Right, you get used to it. But
have
you ever been in a place where you like maybe you were at like a 93X or like a We Fest concert, like in the summertime up north Minnesota. It's like July and you're like having the best time ever, and you smell something when you're there, and it just kind of you don't even notice it. And then maybe 4 years later, you're in a similar place, or not even a similar place, but you just smell that same smell, and you're like, your brain is like, oh my gosh, I remember that from 4 years ago.
There's definite research that has correlated the sense of smell with memories. The smells and memories can like coincide.
That's crazy.
Like smelling something that maybe you haven't smelled in years can trigger a memory from the last time you smelled that.
Right,
that's smell.
Crazy. I don't think. I mean, besides visually, I mean, obviously we have five senses, like touching too, but just having the five senses that we have, and obviously visually, if you saw a similar location that you're at when that happened, or you actually went and revisited it, like obviously you'd see that. So that'd be one thing. Tasting, maybe you made Jello shots or hot dogs on the grill or something, and that always reminds you of that too. But it's just weird how our brains and senses, like, I mean, that's what they're supposed to do apparently, but it's just crazy.
We're complicated organisms. That's for damn sure. It's with a heavy heart that we need to mention a passing of another good friend of ours, Avery Sheppy. It's like this seems like this is happening too often. Friends that we've gotten to know, through this show. We've lost another good friend. Fucking third one this year.
And Avery, the story of Avery started. We went to go see Eddie Ift at the Turf Club in St. Paul
last July on my birthday.
Sarge's birthday. Yep.
Yeah.
And Eddie was doing the Bingo Bus tour where he
74.
Converted a short bus basically into a podcast.
Mobile podcasting studio.
Mm-hmm. So went to the show. during the show, Avery was kind of one of the...
He was fucking wasted.
Totally wasted. And also
front row.
kind of heckling, but not in a bad way. Like,
he heckled the whole fucking Eddie's entire set.
Right, but he wasn't trying to be a dick.
No, he was just
he has
like, no
having
filter.
Fun with it.
Avery
but
had
there's
no
a difference
filter.
between hecklers that are trying to be assholes.
Yes,
and just
it
having
definitely
fun
was
with
not. It was not in a negative way. He was just fucking wasted, and he has no filter.
Yes. So then Eddie starts engaging with him, and then Avery proceeds to go on stage, and there was a
this was at the Turf Club.
Yep.
Right. I believe Eddie ended up at some point asking Avery, like, basically something along the lines of, "Do you think you can fucking do the show?" kind of thing. And Eddie was totally like playing off of Avery's comments and whatnot. But he ended up like telling Avery, like, "Why don't you come up here and do some comedy?" Because Avery was pretty confident that he was funnier than Eddie Eft.
Which is awesome.
So he got up on stage, and then what happened?
Then there was a kind of wooden, old school phone booth. Like,
not kind of, there was.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm just saying, kind of old. It was old. It wasn't like a metal phone booth that Superman would use, but it was more like country western, like Wyatt Earp days. So, anyways, Avery went in there, and
Eddie locked him in there.
Eddie locked him in there,
blocked
and it was
the door.
like, you can't come out, whatever. So then Avery decided, I'm just gonna smoke a bowl, and smoked a bowl
pulled a bowl out of his pocket and just blazed, hot boxed the phone booth.
Yep.
It was the fucking highlight of the show. Mm-hmm. Avery stole the show. He had a tendency to do that.
Yeah.
And then after the show, Eddie did an episode of the Bingle Show.
Yep, on the bus. So
we
we were all hanging out outside the bus.
Yeah, well, me and Frenzy, we were on that episode. Avery, I mean, if you go back and listen to, I think it was like episode 18 or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called. It was like, Save Me, or I can't remember what it was. I think it was like 18, but go back. It's the one with the Turf Club, and Avery's on there, and he stole the show. I mean, me and Frenzy, you barely hear us talk on that episode, but, because Avery is just that kind of person.
Funny.
He has that that personality that is, he steals the show no matter what room he's in. And he was the highlight of that show, and the funniest thing that
Okay.
What?
Never mind. I couldn't hear you for a second.
The funniest thing is that he had this thing where he kept saying how he was going to murder Eddie Eft.
Well, he was a huge fan of Eddie Eft, and also Joe Prano, apparently. And Joe Prano unfriended him from Facebook, and now he hates him. But Eddie had suggested that he join him on the rest of the tour, heading out on the West Coast. And Avery's whole apprehension about it was, well, what if I don't make it? Who's going to pay for my plane ticket back? And Eddie's like, well, you are. And he's like, well, I'm not doing it unless you pay for my plane ticket home. And that was the whole thing. And then he proceeded to talk about how he knew who Eddie's wife was and his daughter, and
super creepy.
Threatened to
super creepy
murder them in their sleep, as a joke.
Yeah,
but
you gotta go listen to the episode.
It's not anything it was creepy, but
it's just funny. He kept saying
it ended up being a joke. It was.
Yeah, it was obviously a joke, but it was just hilarious how many times he would slip in there how he was going to murder Eddie F.
Yes.
As a psycho fan, and he would get that look on his face and he would say it
right. So
I'm going to fucking murder you as soon as this episode's done.
Yes. So fast forward to, and then after the show, I remember a bunch of us peed in the parking lot, me included. I think I was the only chick there.
I've got video of Eddie F. and Avery racing.
Yes. You should send that to Eddie. That would be awesome.
I'll post that.
Yeah. But I remember them doing that, and then I remember going to be behind a dumpster. I was the only chick there. You were the only
chick there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was you and a bunch of swinging dicks.
Mm-hmm.
You like it that way, though, don't you?
Not really. I just don't really like a lot of girls. But anyways, so fast forward a couple weeks, and then I think that night or the next day, I became friends. I friend requested Avery on Facebook just to like keep in contact with him. And we had messaged, and he was like, "When do you think Eddie's going to post the podcast?" And I was like, "Probably not for like 2 months. He takes forever."
He does take forever to post a goddamn episode.
And then we chatted he'd always chat with me or like message me just like random stuff.
Yeah, he's a random dude.
Yeah, and then Eddie came to House of Comedy at the Mall of America like the first weekend in January, and I don't remember if he messaged me first or if I messaged him, and one of us was like, "Are you going to the show?" And then I think he messaged me first, like, "Are you going to the show?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is when I'm going to go. I'm going to go on Thursday." And then he was like, "Okay, cool. I need a dude." And I was like, "What?" And then he went, like, he must have fallen asleep, and I messaged him the next day, and I was like, "You need a dude?" ? He's like, "No, I need a ride, LOL."
Yeah, we talked about this on another episode.
Yeah.
Like,
So then I told him when I was going to go, and then 3 days after I went to the show, he was like, "So are we going to go to the show tonight?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, tonight's Eddie's at the show." And I was like, "I went 2 days ago." And then he was like, "Oh, you're not going to go again? It must have been that bad." Like, he probably literally would have gone every single night if he could have.
He's a shit talker. But, well, on the Thursday night show, when me and you went, he even offered you, like, what did he say, like $500 to drive him? It's like,
yeah,
dude,
that's
like
what I'm talking about. Is
get like 10 Ubers.
2 days later, when he said, "Are you going tonight?" He didn't realize that we had already gone. So that night was when he was like, "Are you going to the show?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, is that bad?" And I'm like, "No, it wasn't that bad. I have plans
it was a great
tonight."
Show.
Yeah, it was great. But I said I had plans because he was he was trying to be facetious.
He was trying to get your pants, he was like, "I got $500 to spend. What will $500
He was being
get
facetious,
me?"
like, "Oh, the show wasn't that. It was that bad, huh?
On
like,
Thursday night,
you're not going to go again."
Like $500 or something.
That was Saturday night. We went Thursday night. So then that Saturday when he messaged me, when he said like, "Oh, it must have been,"
he was trying to go
a bad show.
Too. He was trying to go with.
He
us
did
Thursday
originally, but I didn't hear from him after. Like,
Yeah.
I told him on Monday that I was going on Thursday, that we were going on Thursday, and I didn't hear from him again. And then he messaged me Saturday morning and was like, "Hey, are we going to the show? Are you going to the show?" And I was like, "Can I get a ride?" And I was like, "Dude, I went on Thursday. I told you that already."
Yeah, well, Avery is.
But then he offered me $500
Avery's
to go with him to the show, and I said I have plans, and he's like, "Oh, those must be some really good plans."
Avery's a dude that is. He partakes in many drugs, and so he's not always in the right frame of mind to carry on a conversation. But god damn it, part of that is probably what makes him as entertaining as a person that he was.
He is also 20. He was also 23.
He's so fucking young.
And who did not do stupid shit when they were 23?
He did real stupid shit.
Everyone does stupid shit when they're 23.
Dumb as shit. Fucking love that guy.
So then after the last time that I got a message from him was
we had him on the show.
We had him on the show.
Our 100th episode.
Yeah, I messaged him and told him that I wanted him to be on the show and that we had a surprise for him. And then he was like, "What? When do you want me to be on the show?" And I was like, "In 10 minutes." And he's like, "I'm nervous." Like, it was pretty cute. And then after we had him on, we talked about like having him on again, like on a regular basis, like because we just thought he was so great and so funny. And the funny part was that Sarge and I talked about having him on a regular basis, and then the next day after he did the whole 100th episode guest spot, he was like, "Can I be on the podcast again? I want to do it again." And I was just like, I remember responding like, "Fuck yes, like we already talked about it, like it's down, it's going on."
Yeah, I mean, the details are fuzzy. It looks like, but I mean, there's nothing for sure yet. But it looks like he may have OD'd on something, which makes sense for Avery and the way he liked to rock and roll. Motherfucker liked to party.
Maybe I don't. He could have had some kind of condition.
Maybe I doubt it. It would not surprise me, but we don't know.
I'm sure it was.
The dude liked to rock and roll.
I'm sure it was something
he liked
not
to party.
good.
The dude is no stranger to drugs.
Yeah,
And
but the thing too
weed.
is that He was a Vikings fan too, so he would always like message me about stuff about the Vikings. And he went to Cowboy Jack's. I don't remember if it was downtown Minneapolis or in Bloomington, but he got to go meet like a bunch of Vikings players and ex-Vikings players before the Super Bowl, and he was like, "Guess who I got to meet tonight?" And I was like, "Who?" And then he like messaged me, and I was like, "Badass!"
Yeah,
like,
he's a fun guy. I mean, love that dude. He's always a blast. Anytime we've gotten to talk with him, hang out with him, he's gonna be missed. I know he had a lot of people that love that dude.
Yeah, and he was kind of getting ready to do his own podcast thing too.
That would have been a disaster.
It would have been a beautiful disaster.
It would have been a gigantic shit show. Avery Shep, he can't like put together his own show.
Yes, he could have. He could have. We would have helped him.
Yeah,
because he was that good.
He would have needed it. So Avery, I know a lot of people are going to miss you. We're definitely going to miss you.
I miss you already.
Fuck, too goddamn soon, you idiot. 23 years old. All right, moving on. Let's pull this thing into the station and talk sponsors and shit, huh? What do you think? What we got coming up for the month of February? Should we make it official and play the little theme song here? Here we go. So, looking forward to the month of February for the Social Proof Podcast.
February.
We have
I always have a hard time spelling February.
February. You gotta remember that phantom R.
It's weird.
The February. Stupid ass word. We have Alfred Felker coming on the show. He is a survivalist, survival expert, trainer. He's the founder of, what is it, Self-Reliance?
Self-Reliance.
Self-Reliance. Let me see.
I know what it is. I just can't remember.
Self-Reliance Defense something. Here, I'm going to look it up real quick. Aracia.
I'm not hooked up to Facebook right now.
It is... You know we love our survival dudes. Strategic Self-Reliance and Defense. So yeah, that should be good. He, you know, we always love having the survival experts on and learning some skills and tactics for surviving out there in the cold, dark wilderness. The zombies come. Coming on their goddamn way. Also, rounding out the month of February, legendary comedian Jim Florentine. Love Jim Florentine. Huge fan.
He's gonna be on a cruise.
That's right. That should be interesting. He's gonna be doing the show from a cruise in the middle of who knows where.
I hope he finds the sister to the Hope Diamond while we're on the show with him.
Stop it. Just stop it. He's not. Well, no, I'm not saying that the deep, dark depths of the ocean. He's getting wasted on a big ass boat, and he's doing the podcast. Jim Florentine, if you know him from Crank Yankers on Comedy Central and national headliner, Road Dog all over the world, all over the country. Jim Florentine, looking forward to that. The motherfucker's hilarious. All right, that's it for the month of February. We'd like to thank our sponsors for this episode.
Yes.
Comics Watching Comics. You can find them on Amazon Video.
Seasons 1 through 5 are available now.
Beautiful.
7 and 8, they are taking applications. If you want to be on it, better hurry though. Spots are filling up quickly. Yeah. Don't have anything less than 3 years under your belt of comedy.
No noobs.
Call that shit out right away.
No rookies. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And the Sportsbook Box Office Podcast.
Hosted by Kevin Goatee and Jeffrey Paul.
They talk sports and movies. Check it out. All right. We're going to play
this episode out with a song by one of our favorites. We're going to mix it up. No, we're not going to do color this episode. We got to give Caleb Lamond some props. We got a few songs here by Caleb we haven't played yet. And I'm thinking we're going to go with this one. It's called Come Thou Fount. Don't know what that means.
Fount? Like a fountain?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
We'll have to ask him.
We'll have to ask him, yeah. But, yeah, Caleb Lamond. Fucking love that dude. All right. We're done. Stop listening in about 4 minutes, whenever the song's done. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Later, fuckers.
Yeah. Where you at? Check it. Saving me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. Say, bring me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Oh, give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. It's hard to believe, I wanna write about God now, but I can't, cause I shut out the spirit for years now. As I swim in the seas of my iniquities, just say, do limit me, but the words he slipped to me. Now I'm getting older, and restless as these years pass, falling like the leaves of autumn, breaking free to achieve death. So I'm reaching out, cause demons seem to keep me down. Praying that some peace be found, the teaching somehow reached me now, and got me singing out the sacred words that come now found. Once was lost, but now I'm found, and just like John, I live with doubts. So open the heavens, take back your wayward son. I wanna believe the lies of lust, but I see finally I need love. Saving me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. Say, bring me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Oh, give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. Told myself when I finish the house I made time to be at peace. But now I've seen my vows of approval as false to affirmation. I see you trying your desperately quiet the child within me, but I fear I'm not the means to ease his ailing heart, or silence his strength screams. Looking for remedies in these poisons that I swallow by the bottle. Don't want to wallow, but it's become so easy to follow. Wherever my flesh leads me, the greed it seems to feed me with anxious energy. At the end of the day, no one needs me, or at least that's how it seems. At times it drives me to my knees, where I beg for my soul, from the one who see me free. Only I could, and if only I could feel it. Space between the head and the heart spans a lifetime for got children who can make sense of this love that we've been offered without any strings attached. So I feel we're cursed to water the desert for 40 years for lack of faith in these miracles we witness with our own eyes. Remain blind how the spirit moves. Saving me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. Say, bring me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Oh, give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. I guess fear always motivated us more than love did. Guess I was foolish for allowing myself to want this. Guess I should hate you, cause you did some dumb shit. But you got a good heart and weather something. Guess I should make you sound awful to my friends. Misconstrue the details of things I scarcely comprehend. But I don't wanna hate you, cause I refuse to carry that. I knew the good in you, and I will let the devil bury that. But why are you in a song I wrote about God? I guess cause I loved you like you were without flaws. At least that's what I try to do. Don't wanna try and hide the truth. It's honestly was surprised that you could deny the times you tried the fruit of good or evil. Girl, who you lying to? We will never believe it's only pagans who disguise the truth. Yeah, and that's a bitter pill to swallow. So now I'm laying here in our bed feeling hollow, cause you didn't fill me up one last time before you left, and so my spirit's run dry. Oh Lord, these broken cups can never hold that living water that we had been promised. So we stumble forth and show us such a all we have forgotten. Here I raise my Ebenezer, withered by thy help I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Here I wait my Ebenezer, withered by thy help I've come, and I hope by thy good pleasure safely to arrive at home. Save me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Give me a new breath, Lord. Gentle in the storms are calm. Say, bring me from the depths, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Oh, give me with new breath, Lord. I've been drowning for too long. Give me a new breath of gentle, and the storms are gone.